Someone hit this elk on the side of the road, so we're gonna take that.
2 back straps. That's what I'm talking about! Woo! I love it. Take any hair off. Smells fresh. It's good.
It's right on the side of the freeway, so it's real noisy. It broke its back leg, knocked some of the guts out, but the meat looks good here on this side. So it looks like it's within 12 hours or so, fairly fresh. No flies yet. Just gotta be careful not to give the punch. You have this nice rear leg tendon right here that you use for a lot of different things. Putting broadheads on arrows. This sinew right here. Okay, we have the back strap out here. Nice big long back strap. We have the guts out. Lots of them. We need to dispose of those. State Patrol stopped, said we need to dispose of everything. So I just have my car, so I'm gonna have to put this in trash bags. The carcass in the back, there's fold down seats with plastic. So it's gonna be fun, but we're getting somewhere. All right, so we got everything taken care of right here. Got the back straps out. Everything's actually looking pretty good. Broke some ribs. The bruised meat really isn't that bad. So we have the guts over there, the hide here, front right there. Let's get this in the car and get out of here. Yep, we have a lot of meat in there. There we go, most of the meat off of it. A lot of the scrap meat. There's some good ones too, but that's going to be a lot of dog food for later on. Okay, here's our back strap. There's a muscle attached to the back strap down towards the bottom, which I'm cutting away to expose some of the sinew here. We get as much as we can. There's sinew all over any animal, but these are the longest parts of it. And you see you've got these nice long strands right here. Beautiful. Make a sinew bowstring out of it. Haft arrows, fletch arrows. This nice sinew. Some of this down here. So you just scrape the meat off, hang it up, let it dry out in a spot where the birds and dogs won't eat it. The dogs will eat all of your sinew. So basically I cut this off, cut the sinew off just like this, and then from there you're gonna grab a dull knife and then scrape all the meat off of it. Get it nice and clean because you don't want to have to do it later. It's the easiest to do it right now. And then what you want to do is dry this out nice and flat. Once you lay it out, dry it out where it's flat so it's not rolled up on itself. Good long piece of sinew right here. Now it's easier to take the sinew off the back strap when it's attached to the animal. But while I was sitting in the middle of the freeway, I didn't want to do that. Once you have the sinew off, everything cleaned up, cut them into your steaks as thick as you want. Some people leave them about meal size for their family, cook it in the oven or on the grill, let it rest, and then slice it afterwards. That's another good way to do it. So there's 5, 1 for each of us. Then we'll put them in the vacuum sealer, label it, put it in the freezer. Dog food time. I don't want to waste food saver bags, freezer bags on dog food, but it is always an option. We used to wrap our meat this way. We'd use freezer paper and then put the meat in a Ziploc bag first. So a freezer Ziploc bag, then wrap it up in this. That works pretty well, but the vacuum sealer is pretty thick, so we just went to that. Saves a step there. We'll just put these old pieces that were next to the insides, all dirty, next to the entrails. We'll put all those in, cut them nice and small, mix in some fat, mix in a little bit of the organs,
the ones that we're not eating, to help supplement his diet. Now, if you had to for survival, you could definitely eat this stuff. Clean it up, make it a little bit better. Some of this stuff smells pretty bad, but for sure, you could eat it. That's all he does. He just sits there and stares at the floor, just waiting. Doesn't beg, just stares at the floor. The meat actually looks pretty good on this elk. This is the last leg right here. Not much of it is really blood bruised. This leg is broken. We'll see what it looks like on the inside. You can see the bone there. But it's looking good. You can do some grinding tomorrow. When the meat's attached, it's easy to get a lot of this outside rind off. Cut up real close towards the top. It's a good way to get sinew off as well. A lot of times you don't lose much meat doing it this way. So he leaves a nice clean portion of meat here. But you can do it while it's on the bone, or you can take it off. Just make big pieces into small pieces and make whatever you want out of it. Usually these smaller ones right here, you just cut off this extra stuff here, make some burger out of it. And then these bigger portions, you can make a roast or cut it up into burger. These legs, basically like your forearms, all full of sinew and gristle inside there. So with this, it's good just to make roast out of these, let the tendons break down, get kind of gelatinous. And then this tough cut of meat right here will turn nice and tender. So we have 6 pounds of bacon in here, plus we have this little piece of pork belly that is uncured, and it has the belly skin on the bottom, so you want to cut that off. This is just a little cheaper way to get some pork fat. Well, it used to be. But we'll cut this belly off, and then you can see how it's bacon. That's just unsliced. Once you get your fat cut up, it's a really good idea to bring it and put it in the freezer for 30 minutes and then let that meat cool down along with the other meat that you're grinding up. Put them both in the freezer if you can for 30 minutes. It goes through the grinder a lot better. So we have a lot of elk meat here. I don't even know how many pounds, but it looks about right to about 16 pounds of fat, pork belly, and bacon. So we got 6 pounds of bacon, 10 pounds of pork belly. So that's what we got, and then I'm gonna mix it equally in both of these bins right here. Most of the elk, a lot of the elk, we made into burger because we like burger. So the other roast that we're gonna do, we're gonna try and make some hams out of them. We're gonna brine them and then put kind of like a ham mixture in there. Brine it for a few days. So now we have the meat divided up. This pork is mixed in together here. So we'll put about half of it into one. Looks about right. It looks like it'll be about 10-15% is what I wanted. And put the other half in here. Then let's mix it up. All right, let's put these in the freezer. And just like that, all within probably 5 minutes, we had all of this meat ground up. I made this grinder. This is a 725 RPM motor, right around 1.5 horses. It can be 1 horsepower. Number 32 meat grinder with a pulley adapter. I was able to buy this from Northern Tool and Equipment several years ago. I don't see it in their catalog anymore, but you can find it in different spots still, I believe. But it's just an old hand crank number 32 grinder that has a pulley put on the side of it. So you could make something like that too. You could find something like that. But it looks like a pretty good mixture. We're gonna fry some up. I put the other one, the other meat, in the freezer, but this stuff we'll try and fry it up, and it looks pretty good. Now you could run it through the grinder again, but most people don't like to do that because it turns it a lot more into mush, like a mush burger. It's already pretty ground up and beat pretty hard with how fast this grinder is going. So if you're going from here and making sausage, then you definitely put this back in the freezer, cool it down, and then bring it back out to stuff it in your stuffer because it works that much better. But real happy with this setup. I've used little $100 grinders, cheap grinders that just go real slow. And then they get real bound up right here, all the sinew. The cleaner your meat is when you butcher it, the better it's gonna go through your grinder. There's gonna be less sinew that's gonna be bound up on the end of here. And you can also get different size holes as well, different size plates for the end of these grinders for different applications. Now it's just time to package it up.
It's good.
Yep, that's really good. So then I measure out 2 pounds of meat on my scale. So I got 2.03 ounces. And then put it in the vacuum sealer. So a good trick to do with your vacuum sealer bags is to leave some space on the sides if you can, or leave at least some space on the bottom and around one side so the air can go out. It seals better that way. For a while I was stuffing it in there as tight as I could, then I'd have air pockets in the 2 corners. So that's just a good way to do it. Figured that out after a few hundred bags. And we'll mark it. 2 pounds of meat, elk burger, 22. First load of meat, 21 packages at 2 pounds, so that's 42 pounds of meat. First load. Second one should be about that, about the same thing. So, looking good so far. So the ends of these get gummed up, and they can be tough to open for sure. So depending on the size of the holes that you have, it's good to wash them out. So right in here is stopping everything up. Sometimes sinew will be in there. So you have all this fat in around the knife that didn't get cut up. Yeah, this grinding plate is a little small, but this grinder has so much power, it just pushes through it. But I think I should get a bigger plate, for sure, with bigger holes. Let me know what you like to do, your grinding technique for burger. There's always a couple different ways to do it. The only downside to this grinder is you have to take it off to really clean it well, to easily clean it well. So you take out all 4 of these bolts right here that are holding it down. Sometimes I've used even a strap wrench to get that loose. Once you clean this and put it away, you want to coat everything with coconut oil, and that really helps these threads to not stick, helps keep this from rusting. Because it's nickel-plated cast iron, it can rust if it gets put away wet, if part of that nickel plating rubs off. Here's the inside of it. So here's how it works.
It pushes it through, the knife starts spinning, cuts it all along this plate right here. And that's what starts to get gummed up, things get wrapped up inside there. But all in all, works really well. Ready to go out to the garage, second batch. There we go. First batch here, elk back strap down here. A lot of meat packages. Yes! So we got about 100 pounds of meat. A lot of it burger, so we stocked up on burger for the year. We still have a lot of canned elk meat in cubes, which is good. And a lot of other miscellaneous meat too. So that's why we made a bunch of burger. Plus you got the steaks for the back straps. So I didn't make the whole thing burger.